Welcome back to Look Who's Talking. Up next, I'm super excited because I personally love to work out in all different kinds of ways. So we have Amie with Studio 54, Pilates and more here. Thanks for being here, Amie.
Thanks.
So first, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what Pilates and more is? I know a little bit about Pilates. I'm not sure everybody that's watching does, but I'm very curious about the and more part.
Well, Studio 54 Pilates and more, of course, we specialize in Pilates. First and foremost, I am the only Pilates Sports Center master trainer in the entire state. And so Pilates, most people think of like mat Pilates that they've seen in the gym,
That's
or you can get a DVD to do at home. But the true full beauty of the system and the rehabilitation that can be found in the system is through all of the equipment. So it's through the reformer, through the Cadillac, through the Pilates chair, the ladders and barrels, and of course through a comprehensively trained instructor, which means they've done at least a 500-hour program, bare minimum, which is an associate's degree. Wow.
That's a lot of training.
Right, and anatomy, and like really getting behind it so that we know the intention, the focus, and the purpose of the exercise. We're not just teaching a group of exercises. We know, like if you've had a hip replacement, which ones we shouldn't do and which ones would be beneficial to you.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people I know have gotten injured doing different types of exercises, from everything from yoga to running to CrossFit. I mean, you can injure yourself in any type of exercise if you're not doing it correctly.
Yes.
So, quick question: when people come in, is it like a group class or is it like a one-on-one thing? How does it work?
Well, everyone has to start with one-on-one.
Okay.
That's
to
where you
learn
set
exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, that's where you set your
great.
foundation. Because if you come in just to a group class and we put you on the equipment, that's where you hear somebody later on down the road saying to one of their friends, you know, I tried Pilates and I hurt my back. Because they didn't know where they were moving from, how to stabilize, where the focus was supposed to be. But if we take you and we give you those 5 fundamental lessons where you get to set down a strong foundation, just like in anything we learn, right? Algebra, we had to have a strong foundation before we could go on to physics, right?
Absolutely.
You know? But if you set that strong foundation, you know where to move from, then we can keep you safe in a group class.
Okay. So how many one-on-one sessions do you have? Did you say 5?
5. 5's the minimum for a healthy body. Now, if you do have things, you know, like rods in your spine, you know, replace shoulder, replace hips, things like that, it's going to take more before we will approve for you to go into a group class.
Yeah.
Because first and foremost is we need to keep you safe. We need to get you strong, get you to where you can be pain-free and where you can move your body healthy, functionally, instead of just let's pack this class, which our classes also only have 5 people at the most.
Oh, great. So why is it so important for people to get involved in an exercise like Pilates?
Because it's the only thing you can do for the rest of your life, and you'll continue to get stronger. You'll continue, because we work those joint stabilizing muscles. So a lot of times the aches and pains we feel from growing old, or we think from growing old, is actually imbalances in our body, so it's uneven wear and tear. Because we start using the first time you sprain your ankle, you have to compensate. Unfortunately, though, because those ligaments are now pulled, they don't go back.
Yeah.
You're compensating forever unless you get in there and start strengthening those joint stabilizing muscles. Then you can pull your body back into proper alignment. Once you're strong enough to hold your body in proper alignment, like, aging is just not an issue. It's really not. I used to... like I tell people all the time, my 20s were horrible. They were awful. I was in a terrible car accident. I was old. And now I am, you know, years may have gone by, but I'm definitely young, and I get to play. And I get to play with my nephews, and I get to push them on the swing for hours. And I get to play in the fort with them. And age just no longer becomes an issue, and your injuries no longer own you. You're no longer a prisoner trapped in your own body.
That's great. Yeah. It sounds like you have a great philosophy over at 54.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit just about what got you involved in Pilates, just a little bit about your own personal story.
Yeah, mine was the car wreck. I was in a terrible car wreck back in October of '97. And my husband and I had only been married 8 months at the time.
Wow.
We're actually still married, but definitely very young. And everyone thought, especially, you know, I mean, we have to give credit to the fact that it was 20 years ago, and doctors didn't know then what they know today. So there really wasn't the PT. I have frontal lobe brain damage that mimics early onset Alzheimer's. So it's degenerative and supposed to turn into Alzheimer's. It hasn't, and the biggest piece of that is Pilates, because it's mind-body coordination. Like, I have to continue to strengthen those connections, open new neural pathways as you're doing Pilates. So it helps keep the Alzheimer's away too, is a nice benefit. Huge. Right? But I did, and I spent, truthfully, there were 10 years, I call them the dark ages, where I was depressed, where I was waiting to die because I was in so much pain. I have a broken neck. I had dislocated my left shoulder. I had torn my upper trap, torn my rotator cuff, partially torn the labrum. I have osteoarthritis throughout my entire spine. I lost 2 inches of height due to that. However, thanks to Pilates, I've gained an inch back. I've got rotational scoliosis now from it, as well as a functional C curve. I broke my tailbone. I dislocated my right hip.
Was this all from the same car accident?
This was all from the car accident, yes. I mean, it was awful. But back then, they really thought that most of these were soft tissue injuries, and they would heal on their own.
Oh my gosh.
They don't.
No.
You have to strengthen to be able to support that. So I kept searching, and I kept searching, and I kept searching. I mean, and I would occasionally take some time off and be depressed because it's very depressing to be.
I can even imagine that doing Pilates would probably have an effect on your mental health as well.
It absolutely did. It absolutely did. And I remember one day, and I finally stoked myself up because I also, by the way, went from being a size 1 to a size 18. In 3 months. So I wasn't going to be seen in public. I mean, let's be honest. Right? I'm not going to the gym.
Yeah, I mean, your self-esteem probably plummeted.
It's gone. Yeah. So I finally worked myself up to going to Target, and I was supposed to get a yoga DVD, or VHS at the time, right? Because I was like, everybody says it's so rehabilitative, and I had bought a treadmill, and I had tried that, and that wasn't working because I couldn't walk in a straight line because I was so out of balance. So then, and I'm looking at the yoga ones, and I'm like, and out of the corner of my eye, I look down here and I see Pilates. And I'm like, what's that? So I picked it up, I turned it over, read on the back how it explained that every work, there's a stretch and a work, and it's very multitasking, but it's a lot of hard work. There's no holding poses, and with the now ADHD, that's not good for me.
Yeah.
And there's no inversions, also with a broken neck, not good for me. But that it's hard work. And I'm from Western Kansas. I grew up out in the country, Western Kansas. And I looked at that and I went, well, I can work hard.
Yeah.
I have work ethic. You know, I'd lost everything else, but I still had a good, solid work ethic. Awesome. So I went back to the basics. And then when we finally moved to Wichita from Texas, actually, is when I was finally in a town that was big enough to have a studio, and that's when I got on the equipment, and that's when my life changed forever, and I have to pay it forward.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for being here, Amie. It sounds like a great opportunity for people to start healing their minds and their bodies. So, you guys, thanks for sticking around with us, and please come and see us next week. Thanks so much, Amie.